What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to keep this one short and sweet. Today we're going to be talking about the Chicago Bulls Weekly, where we discuss the previous week and discuss the upcoming week for the Chicago Bulls. And at the end of the day, like it or hate it, the Chicago Bulls simply just failed to deliver this week, as they have for many weeks before. Before we get any further, if you like the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls and, I guess, what they did in the previous week. Are you somewhat happy or sad with the previous week, and also what's to come? Now, I believe in this upcoming week, once we deal with that, and trust me, there's a lot we're gonna have to deal with next week. Really, there's way too much, and I don't think the Bulls are gonna cope with it very well. Either way, after the end of next week, we actually have a bit of a break. Maybe this could be that break that can maybe change something for the Chicago Bulls. Maybe that's trade-wise, maybe that's, I guess, in other areas, but from my calendar, and I'm from Australia, so the dates may be all a little bit, changed for you guys. But I'm sure if you go to your Chicago Bulls calendars, you could find it as well. We have a game against the Pelicans on, for me, Sunday, the 3rd of December at 12 p.m. By the way, most likely will not be doing a watch-along for that one. But then after that, we have a couple of days, over a week off. Our next game after that is the 12th of December. Now, I'm assuming that's for the in-season tournament games, and I'm assuming the people in the in-season tournament will, I guess, compete for that, and then they'll have their week off, or whatever the case may be. I'm not too sure. But yeah, that's going to be very interesting. I don't know why that's the case. I also, I just don't know. But that's what the calendar says, so I'm going to see, I guess we'll wait and see whether or not that will change, or whether or not it won't change. And again, it is what it is. But like I said, I was going to keep this video short and sweet, because I'll give you the reasons why. The Bulls had 3 games this week, and we ended up going 0-3. A miserable week for the Chicago Bulls, but again, it's just a week of complete and utter disappointments. The Bulls faced the Miami Heat to begin this week, and we lost 118-100. Basically the exact same game as you probably saw between Miami and the Chicago Bulls the first time around. The only difference in this game is, in the fourth quarter, Miami took care of business. They did not give us a chance, and they wiped us off the floor in the fourth quarter. And it looks as bad as it does. 118-100, an 18-point loss. It didn't really reflect through most of that game. But at the end of the day, the fourth quarter was a miserable watch. It is as simple as that. We did not come back in the fourth quarter. We did not make things interesting in the fourth. We have to take that on the chin and move on. Then our next game was against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Very similar game from the first time around against OKC to the second time around against OKC, where we lost this game 116-102. Again, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just absolutely cooking the Chicago Bulls all night long, whether it was Patrick Williams, Alex Caruso, Ayo Dosunmu, Kobe White, Zach LaVine, whoever was guarding him at the time simply just could not get the job done. And once we tried to blitz and double team him, that's when, of course, the OKC Thunder squad came in and backed him up, made some threes, made some impacts. It wasn't as impactful as the first game against OKC. Not everybody stepped up for that team when they needed to be, and that's why it was a close game in the third quarter, but they got the job done in the end. Again, another great fourth quarter performance. OKC are right up there in my eyes as one of the best teams in the league, and it's crazy to me because they still have so many young assets they could use, and they still have a lot of cap space that they can sign players as well. They're in a very interesting predicament, and I'm excited to see where OKC can go in the future. And then this last in-season tournament game against the Toronto Raptors, we lost this game 121-108. Now, the game against Toronto was a very frustrating watch from start to finish, because the defensive work for the Bulls is where I was really disappointed. Normally, when you're talking about the Chicago Bulls, you're talking about the stagnant offense, the miserable performance offensively, no one stepping up, too much isolation and hero ball. We don't concede turnovers because we don't pass the ball. These types of things for the Chicago Bulls, but mainly the stagnation part, right? Well, in that game, yes, that was still a key. Again, Zach LaVine had to drop 36 points. A lot of it was still stagnation and isolation, but whatever the case may be, Zach LaVine had one of his best games, if not the best game of his season, outside of the 51-point performance against Detroit. And what did we do with that? The Bulls still didn't move, still didn't cut, still didn't provide options. When the ball was out of Zach LaVine's hands, blitzed and double teamed, who stepped up to the plate? Not a whole lot of people, and we lost that game convincingly once again. DeMar DeRozan, obviously, with the minus 31 plus minus. That is one of the worst I've seen in a long, long time. And again, another game we have to take on the chin, move on from, and just discuss what could have been for the Chicago Bulls. But 0-3, again, the bad weeks that we've had, 0-3 might be the worst of the lot, and the performances have been pretty bad, to say the least, as well. Maybe not the worst performances I've ever seen from this Bulls team this season, but all of them are up there, really. So again, where do we go from here? Well, we go straight to the awards, and I'm not going to do the awards show. I'm going to tell you the players I've been impressed with this week, but I'm not going to give awards to anyone. Fact of the matter is, we didn't win a game. I like the concept of giving the awards. Again, I created the concept in many ways. Bulls Weekly and the awards that I give, I mean, maybe someone else did a performance and I didn't give them credit or something. I don't know, but it's one of those things where I came up with it myself. And at the end of the day, it's something that I like to do. I thought it was a very creative idea at the time, and it all made sense at that time. We had a young team, and then we obviously became a good team, and now we're just all over the place. And I'll ask you the question: what player really deserves an award today? Like, how could anyone be proud of a Player of the Week award in a week where we were 0-3? How can anybody really, I guess, be selected for the Must Improve award when the whole team struggles every single game? How could someone be the best player on the bench, but our bench has been poor this week? You know what I mean? But I'll tell you the guys I've been impressed with, but I'm not giving anybody awards. Coby White's three-point shooting has really come into light today, in the last couple of games. Again, you can say what you want about his field goal percentage. His field goal percentage for the entire season is not exactly a great sight. And Coby White's not really having the step of development that I think a lot of us expected, but you can still see the work ethic in Coby White's game. You can see he's one of those guys that hasn't given up on the team, whether, you like it or not. He's one of those guys that's really giving his all to the Chicago Bulls. And in the last couple of games, he's turned into a very good three-point shooter, which is exactly what we need out of him, especially now with, obviously, the potential departure of Zach LaVine. Coby White's probably going to have to fill in that shooting guard role, most likely. He's probably going to be the guy that comes in. Well, he's already starting, but come into a different role, and maybe a different point guard might have to come in and play in his position naturally. So I guess getting a little bit of everything from Coby White is very, very important. And seeing his shooting touch in these last couple of games is a solid thing. Obviously, Alex Caruso is someone I'm always going to be impressed with at the end of the day. Defensively was good. Offensively is probably his best season for the Chicago Bulls by none. And yeah, I really enjoy Alex Caruso's game. I know it's not favorable to really give praise to this guy or to give respect to this guy, but Zach LaVine had a fantastic game in the last time out. Again, where we're looking at we're desperate to find good performances from the Chicago Bulls team. We really, really are. And Zach LaVine is part of the category where, he didn't play one of the games against the OKC Thunder, but the game before that against the Bucks, it wasn't against the Bucks. What am I saying? Against the Heat. I don't actually remember his game against the Heat that well, but I don't think it was amazing. But the game against the Toronto Raptors was spectacular. And although it was one performance out of 3 games that we've played, it's still something to take note of. And again, it's not a lot of people want to give credit to Zach LaVine for that. But look, when he has a good performance and when this Bulls team are desperate for good performances, that is one that I'm always going to bring to the table. Other than that, is there really anybody maybe Julian Phillips? I'm proud that Julian Phillips is getting minutes now. So those are the guys that I'll give respect to for this week. But again, not one of them deserves an award, and not one of them really, I guess, will get an award. Simple as that. And everybody else is in the must improvement category for me. So there you go. Let's look at the upcoming week. Again, we don't have a whole lot of time here. So our first game is going to be against the Brooklyn Nets in a couple of hours' time. We've already lost to the Brooklyn Nets in the past. Surprisingly enough, their offense is really carrying the load for them. So it's going to be very, very hard stopping them. But we'll wait and see how we go. I truly think we could win this game, but simple as this, the Bulls aren't good enough. So yes, we can win one game, doesn't mean we're going to win all of them. The next game is an in-season tournament game against the Boston Celtics. This means nothing for the Chicago Bulls. First and foremost, very unlikely that we beat Boston. Second of all, we are eliminated from the in-season tournament anyway. So this just simply does not... This game doesn't matter. And I don't like Boston's court anyway, so that's upsetting. And then the third game is against the Bucks. I don't even really need to say anything there. That's going to be a hard game in its own right. Thank you for watching. Drop a like and a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.